Today we're looking at a 4K trail camera by Kentfaith. You may know them as K&F or K&F Concept. They say they are the #1 choice in photo and video, and I can certainly say I've got loads of their products. I've got V&D filters, I've got soft filters, tripods, I've got loads of stuff, and I'm sure a lot of other people have as well. And I've got to be totally honest and upfront, they've sent me this gear in exchange for a review. I was very, very clear with them though that this would be an honest review and they can't see it in advance. I'm just going to give you my honest thoughts about it. So why am I looking at a trail camera? Of all things I could do on this channel, why a trail camera? Well, as I've said in previous videos, I've got another channel called The Wild with Luke, which has got approximately 0 videos on. However, that will change soon. And this may hint at the fact that I'm massively into wildlife photography. It's something I've spoken about a couple of times before, and the last few videos I've done have largely revolved around testing lenses for photographing wildlife. Looked at like a Sigma 100-400 versus a Canon RF 100-400, and I've got another review coming out for the Sigma 150-600, so stay tuned to this channel if you aren't already. I need a trail camera because I'm finding it so blooming hard just to track this wildlife down. It can be the most infuriating type of photography, and a trail camera may not seem like the most obvious thing to get initially, but essentially what we're doing is we're trying to employ some hunting tactics. We're trying to get the upper hand so we can actually go out, figure out where this wildlife is, and then get some really, really cool photos. So there are tons of trail cameras online. There are so many, and this one just seemed to have really good specs. They had asked me what I would like sent, and I chose this one because it could do 4K video in 30 and it can shoot photo as well. Now I'm going to get more into the specs in a little bit, but first we're going to look at a series of tests and I'm going to give you my first impressions. Go and subscribe to The Wild with Luke as well, because I will be giving a longer term review. So for now, let's get into the video and I'll tell you all about this camera. So what are my first impressions of this product? Well, it's only like the second trail camera I've ever really sort of held, and it feels quite familiar. It feels quite tough. It's got a nice heft to it, especially when you put the batteries in there. It takes 8 AA batteries. You can take them out dead easily. There's a little plastic compartment with a little drawstring on. You pull it out, you load the batteries up in there. On the very bottom, you've got an SD card slot. On the very, very bottom, there's a 1/4" mount. And on that mount, you could mount it to like a tripod or to the base plate that comes with the product, which is really cool. It also comes with a strap as well, which means you could tie it around a tree. And finally, it also comes with a memory card, or this version did. I think you can get it as a bundle on the website. It's a 64GB memory card, and you'll get a fair amount of shots off that. I found on my night of testing, I only got like 12 shots. Which actually means I can actually push the camera a little bit harder as well in terms of upping the specs a little bit. If you want an idea of how heavy this is, it's kind of like a chunky power bank, a little bit heavier, a little bit fatter, can fit kind of in the palm of your hand. It's got 2 cameras on there, one for night and one for day. The night camera is only 1080p, I believe. If I get anything wrong, I'll put a little asterisk at the bottom. The other camera though is a 4K camera. It can do 4K 30p, which is really, really cool. Now I'd looked at loads and loads of cameras. There seems to be loads of trail cameras, but the specs were just not there in a lot of them. So the ability to shoot 4K means you're going to get a lot of detail. However, there's another spec in there which really excited me. It can shoot 2K at 60 frames a second. So any shots you do get could be slowed down on your timeline and you can get some really, really cool slow motion. Now, I think that's awesome. I'll probably default to using that mode after some testing to see what the quality is like, because I can imagine wanting to stretch out any footage I do gather. And in terms of setup, it was so simple. You take it out, put the batteries on, put your memory card in, format the memory card, and it really is quite straightforward. I will do a full-on breakdown of this over on The Wild with Luke and in that more in-depth video. It's also weather sealed as well, I've got to say that. It's got a weather seal gasket. So these are really, really good things. It actually feels quite premium, to be honest with you. Some other notable specs as well include the fact that you can actually shoot photo and video clips at the same time, which is very, very useful and something I'm definitely going to be using. Now, On the specs that they gave me, they said it can shoot up to 48 megapixels per photo. However, it goes like all the way up to 60 in camera. They recommend only shooting around 13, which is what it's set to as standard. But honestly, my first night of testing this, I got 12 shots. I don't mind whacking this all the way up to the top and just seeing how I get on with that. Especially considering I've got like 256 gigabyte memory cards lying around. I think I'll be okay. The photo quality is okay. I don't think I'm going to win any awards with it, but it's definitely going to help in terms of tracking and identifying animals. And that video footage is really useful. So again, that video footage is not going to match like my Lumix camera with a Sigma 150 to 600. Of course it's not, but it really helps texture a documentary or a short film where you're going to add this footage in. Think of BBC Winter Watch, where they're using footage from like live cameras and trail cameras. It adds texture, and I really, really like that. And finally, you can also record sound, and it should be noted that all of this was set up within 20 to 30 minutes. It really was straightforward. It also has Wi-Fi as well, which I think is really cool. However, that Wi-Fi doesn't mean you can log into the camera remotely, which would be super awesome. It means you can use an app which you can download from the Play Store, and then use the camera if you're in sort of close proximity to it. The app is also very easy to use as well. It seemed to take a little time to get going when I first launched it, but it seems to work pretty smoothly ever since. And in addition to all of that, the trigger time is only 0.2 seconds, which is really, really useful. Just means it's got a very, very fast trigger sensor. So if something passes by, it will get the shot like very, very quickly. And you can even go in and there's lots of customization. You could have it take shots every minute, every 30 seconds, every hour. I set mine to every 30 seconds, I believe. And like I said, I come away with 12 shots. In my head, I'd calculated getting like 700 shots or something crazy. But then upon seeing the footage, I was like, of course I didn't get 700 shots. That's a shot every single minute. In the middle of the night, not much is actually going on. These are the photos I have got with it and some of the video. These are some deers and a little fox as well. When I was seeing this, there was someone else with me as well, who's like a head gardener, and we were like proper nerding out. This was so awesome. And I can't wait to put the trail camera back there as well for use on a future project. In summary, the build quality is very, very good. It's weather sealed, it feels sturdy, and it's simple to use. There isn't really much more you could ask for, and I'm really, really happy with what I've got so far. Now, it only shoots in JPEG, it doesn't do RAW, so you're not gonna have loads of control over how you push and pull these photos. But I think it's pretty good. As I said earlier, it does help in locating other animals and wildlife. The night camera is obviously a lower quality, which is to be expected. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. I don't think it's going to be like landing me a spot on Wildlife Photographer of the Year, but maybe it will help me find the shot that will. So let's look at the pros and cons. We'll start with the cons first. So an obvious con is the fact that you're buying this item and then you kind of have to leave it out there alone, which can cause a little bit of anxiety because someone could potentially come along and just sort of like take it off the tree. And another con is, as I mentioned earlier, you can't access the Wi-Fi from home, although that's probably just wishful thinking on my behalf. I also think, you know, the photo quality is good for sourcing animals, but like I said, you're not going to win any awards. Now, onto the pros. Well, the pros are it's going to be great for any budding wildlife photographers or anyone into conservation and just wildlife in general. It's going to be a really handy tool. You might be using it to find out what type of wildlife you've got in your gardens or out in the wilderness, or like me, you might go and put it in a spot where you think there's been activity to confirm or deny if there's been activity there, or possibly find things you've not even thought would be there. I also think that the quality is much better than I expected. I had spoke to somebody else who's also got a trail camera, and they said the quality on this one was much better. Now, on that future project we're working on, we're going to be using their trail cameras as well, which is fine, but it is good to know we've essentially got like an A trail camera, like one that's going to provide really good and usable footage. I also like the fact it's weather sealed, it's easy to use. There isn't much I don't like about it, to be honest. It's really exciting, and I look forward to giving you a more in-depth review in a few months' time when we've put it through its paces. If you liked today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe to keep notified of future videos, and let me know if you are into wildlife photography. Is this something you would buy yourself? If so, let me know in the comments below. I'll catch you next time. See ya.